not here, you missing out. Cause this show.
Hey guys, it's Gemma Jewels here, the 6 foot bombshell. Hey, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, we love wrestling.
Welcome to Women on Wednesday. Ooh.
Yay!
Yes, today is a good day. You may have been watching on the Title Match Network and saw UWF. If you saw, put some clips up. This is one of the people that was there. The 6 foot, yes, 6 foot people. Bombshell. We have Gemma Jewels. How you doing today, man?
I am doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing great myself.
Good.
Before we even get into it, she is trained, was trained at the Nightmare Factory by Glacier and QT Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
But the first question I always ask everybody is, why do you love wrestling, or what started your love for wrestling?
Well, it's always, I don't even really have like that much of an interesting story, because for me, it was just, it wasn't like my family or anybody was interested like in it and I like watched it because they did. Honestly, I did, because when I was just younger and would be like flipping channels and nothing was on, and then I would see that, like I instantly was drawn to it and watched it and just always thought it was funny or entertaining, or just, I guess like a guilty pleasure of mine in a sense. At least back then it was. And I just loved it. And so I was the one that actually got my friends into it, as opposed to like having older brothers or anything that were into it. I just have the one younger brother.
So when you got into it, who were some of the people that got you into
it? As far as who I watched?
Yes.
I actually really loved the divas, a lot of them, like Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson. I loved Stone Cold, Goldberg. I already had known of a few names, only because of like friends, some friends, older brothers that were interested in it. So Roddy Piper, certain like the really big names, and obviously everybody knew who The Rock was. But then as I began to watch, and definitely HBK, because he was one of my favorites growing up. So those were the first few names for me that really got me into it. But as far as other women as well, it's definitely Lita and Trish as well.
Okay. So let's talk about it. How
Yeah.
did you start? How did you get into training for wrestling? What made you go, you know what, I'm going to actually do this?
Well, that was always the difficult part, because I always wanted to do this when I watched it when I was like 12 and 13. But the problem was I was always thinking, like, how would I even do this? Where do you even start? And like, I wonder how old you have to be, or do you have to go to a certain college? And I considered OVW even, and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know, like, I didn't have a clue. Even Google wasn't really that much help. And I would not really see any schools come up when I looked. And then when I was about 27, actually, and I had a 9 to 5 at the time. So I Googled schools just one day randomly, because, I had obviously kind of given up on the idea and just thought, okay, well, I don't look like a playmate. I'm never going to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I Googled schools again for like the 1,000th time, knowing I wasn't going to probably see anything as usual or do anything about it if I did. But it turned out that a school showed up, and it wasn't Nightmare Factory. It was a different one. And I had started, so I just assumed, okay, well, maybe this could actually be my chance. Like, maybe I really should try this. If I can't get it out of my head, there's obviously a reason. So I kind of just went for it after that.
So I've talked to first thing, you said you're not a Playboy playmate, but your name is the Bombshell.
Right.
So you have to think a little bit that you work Playboy.
Well, I meant mostly when I was younger, at that time, and I thought like I didn't, which I still don't fully look like they did, but at that time I was like, how am I ever going to look like that? You know what I mean?
Okay, I can understand.
And assumed you had to look like that to be hired, which I love that women's wrestling has come so far, and it's not about that anymore.
Right. So training. So you were A lot of people I've talked to said they trained with QT and Glacier. They were grandfathered in. Now, after it made the transition over to the Nightmare Factory, are you still there, or did you have a little time there before?
No, I'm still there.
Okay.
I mean, it is one of the top schools in the country, and I feel super blessed to have been able to get there before it transitioned over, and it was before AEW, before anything like that, and we got the very best of on hands or hands-on training that we could have, and I'm super thankful for that.
All right. So I'm I'm going to ask you a funny question.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to set it off?
Always.
Who's the first person that you set it off with in the ring?
It was actually Shalance Royal, and we had met at Power Factory when it was Power Factory, and I thought like I actually she befriended me, and she was my first opponent in the ring, and I assumed that she would take care of me, and instead she kind of went the other way on things. If you look back at that, it's on my YouTube channel. But what's interesting that you asked me that this week is this weekend at MomoCon, either Friday or Saturday night, I am going to be facing her again after all this time, because my debut was over a year ago. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how we've both changed and different things that we can both do now, and hoping for a different result this time,
So I'm glad you brought that name up. So we had her here about a month and a half ago.
Nice.
And we watched a little bit of that match and talked about it. And I asked her about it. She was like, "Yeah, Jim," and she was like, "I haven't seen her in a while, but I should have seen her soon." So you said this weekend at MomoCon?
Yeah.
Where's MomoCon happening at?
That's the Georgia World Congress Center.
Oh. What time does that show start?
I actually don't know for sure. But a lot of the wrestling, it's by Stranglehold Championship Wrestling. A lot of the wrestling that happens, at Dragon Con, things like that, it usually goes a lot during the day. So I'm going to try my best to update everybody as soon as I can, but I only know what time I'm supposed to be there so far. So, but it's going to be really great. So we're super excited.
MomoCon, all my con people, if you down there in Atlanta, go check out wrestling if you hear the name come up for it. So we got that. Yeah, we're gonna ask this. So being there, let's talk about it. This past weekend, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
UWW, Ultimate Women's Wrestling. How was that experience for you? Was it your first time in Vegas for wrestling?
For wrestling, yes. I had gone there a couple of years ago for a bachelorette party. That was a lot of fun. So not my first time in Vegas, which I'm glad, because I really wanted to be like, oh, I would love to go sit by the pool right now or some, it was great, but it was definitely too quick. Like I'm already ready to go back. I know they're working on their next few shows and rocking and rolling there. So, but everything went really, really well, in my opinion. And I got to work with, Zeta Zhang, who's great in the ring. And I enjoyed it. So we had a lot of fun and met a lot of great people. And I really do hope to go back soon.
So that match, you was controlling the whole match. I thought you had it. And then she did this move and she got you.
You got me, yeah.
Would you like to go against her again?
Definitely. Yeah, I would love some redemption there, and maybe, just a little bit more time to really put on more of a show.
Okay. Because I was watching the show. I was like, oh, there goes Jen. I was like, oh, she's beating her down, 6 foot. She got her, Zeta's kind of short and everything. And I was like, oh.
But she's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good show. I had to check it out. A lot of people on that show.
Awesome.
Saw you on so you had some appearances on AEW.
I have.
I think he was just recently on, maybe a couple weeks ago, were you?
No, it was back in, I believe, April. I've only been down there the one time. It took me long enough to kind of get in the right headspace with myself to really kind of want to go down there and feel that I was ready to, because I'm, my own worst critic a lot of the time, which I think a lot of us are. And you want everything to be perfect, but it's obviously, with it being live entertainment, it's never going to go perfect. There's always going to be something. And whether it's in the wrestling or just in production and something. So, but I loved it. I had a good time, and I want to really. That's another thing that I would like, another shot at. So I'm really doing my best to hopefully get picked to be on the next time that they're in Atlanta. That would just be great, because when I think about it, like, I don't ever really get to wrestle in Atlanta. I'm in South Georgia a lot of the time, different parts of Georgia. So that's why this weekend at MomoCon, that's really exciting too, because it's Atlanta. A lot of people that have not seen me wrestle yet can come see me.
Okay, now I've talked to a lot of people from the Georgia area.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody from Georgia keeps saying that they really don't wrestle in Georgia. What's going on?
That they really don't what?
They don't really wrestle in the Georgia area. Like,
I know.
Are the Georgia promoters not picking the Georgia talent? Because you're maybe probably the fourth or fifth person to say, yeah, I'm in Atlanta, but I really don't wrestle around here. I go other places. And I'm like,
It's weird, but more so for me, it's not wrestling near like where I live, I guess you could say. Like, it's always like a 2-hour, 3-hour journey. It's always a little bit out of the way, so it's not in central Atlanta where I live, because I guess there's just not a lot around here, unless it's for like a bigger show and a bigger production, which would be MomoCon, or like I did with Championship Wrestling in Atlanta. That was great. And so I really I think that that's kind of what it comes down to more so. That maybe just in our general area where a lot of us train, there's not a whole lot. Let me turn my light back on here. Is that better? You like that? All right. Yeah,
no.
It told me, like, on the disclaimer, definitely add light, because it makes it look amazing or something. So
You're fine. So you said you're your own worst critic. So what's some of the best advice you got from somebody?
I guess well, as funny as it sounds, some of the best advice would be breathe through your nose as far as cardio, because it's all cardio and it helps. But I think some of the best advice, I mean, is to, like QT says, treat it like it's real. As far as it being like, if in real life, in a real life situation, that really helps. To, if you're fighting on the street, like, to think of it in that aspect, to think what would make sense here at this given time. So definitely that. And I think it's just, a lot of people say, don't try to be the next this person or that person, be the first you. And that really stuck with me too, because I think we all go out also trying to imitate our favorites. And I think that definitely helps a lot, to be able to just be the first you and create because there's so much out there that hasn't been done yet, and so much that has. So it's a lot of fun in that sense to build a character.
So who's the first wrestler that you tried to imitate once you got started?
I mean, I still do, because he's my favorite. The Undertaker, he's, was my favorite then. That was one that I think I forgot to say who made me a fan of the sport, who made me love it. And, Charlotte Flair, only because we have a similar height and somewhat of a similar look. And I think it's about working tall. That was something I definitely learned a little bit later than I wanted to, but it was about working for your own height.
Working for you. How many people have you faced that are your height? Because you're 6 foot. I've been around. I've seen numerous women's wrestlers out here. I know a few, but have you came up across anyone that's your same height that you've been in the ring with?
Well, Giselle, Azure. I have she's about the same height as me. And then I'd have to think. I think there were just a couple others, but it's not as common. It's definitely not. So I guess for a while I had the bad habit of kind of trying to shrink down and equal sizing, and that's when a lot of people told me you don't have to do that, so you don't need to anymore. And I was like, all right, then I'm gonna rock it. So Giselle's the only one I could think of off the top of my head, actually. And maybe a couple others, but none that I've really faced a whole lot.
We're gonna have to get you out here with the big people.
And yeah, exactly.
Battle of the battle of the tall one.
Maybe.
Ooh,
Glamcon, see, I wanted that. I think that got stolen right from under me.
we'll think about the name, but it may work. So I have to ask you, who are, let's say, two of your favorite matches that you already had, or two people that you worked with so far that you enjoy working with?
Definitely Danny Jordan, the Mean Girl. There was a time that I had lost a good friend to cancer one night, and I wasn't really prepared to wrestle. It was at my school. I didn't know for sure if I was going to that night, but I was going to tell them I didn't want to. But she ended up, they told me when I got there, like, we have you planned to face Danny. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I just figured that I needed to power through it because that's what my friend wanted. And that's how she was, and her spirit was that way. And I actually went out and had one of my greatest matches out there with Danny. So I thank her for that, because I trust her and she's a good worker. And I enjoyed wrestling her. So that was definitely somebody that I feel like I had one of my greatest matches. And it was at my school, and it's on my YouTube channel. You can see it there. And I think another good one, I've wrestled Tracy Taylor numerous times, and we had one in particular for the championship for I forget the name of the promotion there. It's been a minute since I've been there in New Bern, North Carolina, but I think it went well. And again, she's somebody who's really good at what she does, and I enjoyed being in the ring with her as well.
Tracy Taylor.
Yep.
I've seen her cutting some promos on people, so I know who that. Would you say that's like one of your favorite rivalries? Somebody, has she? When's the last time is she still active out there?
Are you may be confusing her with Trixie, which is her daughter, who has the red hair.
I possibly could.
And Tracy is her mom, who's
black hair.
No, she's got like blue actually now, I think. But she's been doing it for a long time.
Okay.
And so yeah, I enjoy working with Tracy a lot.
Now, what areas have you wrestled in? Because if a lot of people don't know, they'd be like, okay, we haven't seen her. What states or what regions have you wrestled in so far?
I've been to Memphis a lot, in that general area, in Tennessee. I've been to North Carolina quite a few times, in Burlington, New Bern, that area. Definitely South Georgia, in and all around it, even Savannah. And then I've been to Vegas, which is great, and Alabama, definitely. I would love to go to the Northeast, where I'm from. I'm from Massachusetts. I would really like to wrestle up there. So that is something that I hope to do in the future, because there's quite a bit of wrestling up there, is what it looks like, and it just be great for me.
I mean, saying that you're from Massachusetts, you got WWR plus Beyond Wrestling up there. Women's Wrestling Army just started up there.
Nice.
If you're from that area, I mean, you have to go whoop some people up.
Definitely.
I mean, because there's too many talents that's in that area. And Erie Summer, well, they in Chattanooga, Tennessee this year, but they always do that uncharted territory. So
I would definitely like to. Yeah, that's a goal of mine. So hopefully we can. But I may ask you for those names a little bit later and just see,
All right.
just check in with some of them.
Hey, I'm here to help. However you need to be helped. Let's see here. I'm gonna do this right now. So I got to put that down. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me turn to the side because I always do this. The Rocker Stone Cold.
Oh, okay. I think Stone Cold.
I said it last week. They asked me. I said the next person's probably gonna pick Stone Cold because I don't get too many rocks in a row. Um,
That's funny. Yeah, so you already know.
I was like, somebody's gonna pick Stone Cold, and I know it's gonna happen because I was on a roll to get back. But
Mm-hmm.
13-8, Stone Cold's up. Sorry, Rock. Uh, so Jim, I asked this question because I like to see where people's heads at because wrestling got about having your characters and everything.
Definitely.
So if you get yourself, say you want to describe your wrestling career as a movie, what movie would you have to describe your wrestling career right now as it's going?
Um, are there that many wrestling movies?
It's not even a wrestling movie; it's just any movie.
I don't even know. Wow, that's a tough, deep question. For sure. Hmm. And maybe like 8 Mile in a sense.
You playing the main role?
Hmm. Yeah, I just think like because at first being like scared and mostly the battle scenes where it was I started to really like give up on things, give up on myself, and I had a lot of people to prove wrong, and that's what I wanted to do ultimately. So I did come back and conquer in the end, in a sense, at least according to me. Because I did debut kind of late after starting to train because I tore my left ankle, and my first school was just a sham, and I moved on from it and I went to Nightmare Factory. And then after I healed after like 7 months in a boot, my bad ankle, I then we went to we had well it was COVID, and then it was like shut down for like 3 months. So it was like, I mean, is this I'm starting to think like, is this for me? Do I really even want to do this anymore, with all this shit that's been trying me. Excuse my French.
We cuss here. We don't hold nothing back.
Okay.
So, what keeps you going on a daily?
What kept me going?
Yeah, kept you going. Sorry,
Um,
because you don't have those thoughts no more, do you?
well, no, I still got the same thing that keeps me going, kept me going. My dad was a professional athlete, and I lost him in the middle of this journey. I mean, he knew about it. He knew what I was trying to do. He knew I was a fan since I was little, and he supported me. And then about like 8 months into my training, he passed away, and so that also happened. And then switching schools, and then the ankle thing happened, and then COVID. So there was a lot, uh, and I just wanted to make him proud, and it still keeps me going, and that's still why I do what I do. And he did it, so can I. He didn't wrestle, but he was pro athlete, so.
Athletes in your blood, gonna do it.
Yeah, even though my brother, he got all the athletic genes, I'm not as much. That was another reason I had to work, if I mean, like twice as hard.
But you the 6 foot bombshell, working twice as hard. You still out here making it happen. That's what we
Yeah.
like to see.
Yep. Thank you.
So, yeah. Last question before we go into our final thing.
Okay.
3 people on the independent scene. If we could make the match happen, that you would like to face, who would those three people be?
Um, Savannah Evans. I've
Oh,
really always wanted to fight her because I think she's awesome.
have you talked to her before?
Huh?
Have you
Yeah, I've
talked?
met her before, and I
Okay.
think I've even commented like on one of her pictures, like hopefully someday I'll get to try this too, or something like that. She's posting about a match, and I kind of like hinted at it. So, definitely her, and I think who else? Who was I talking about the other day? I think Dream Girl Ellie as well. Um, I did meet her at a Mucha Lucha show, and she was really nice, and she seems to know her stuff pretty well. So she'll be at MomoCon this weekend as well, but I believe she's doing kind of the mixed tag stuff. So
Mucho
I would
Lucha
like to,
in Georgia?
huh?
Mucho Lucha down there in Georgia?
Yeah, that's where I met her originally. That's yeah, they were having the Mucha Lucha show,
Okay.
because of her boyfriend or husband or whoever.
Great. Yeah.
And
Number three.
number three, let's think. Maybe Marina Schaefer. Is it Schaefer? Schaefer, right?
Shafir.
Shafir. I knew it was some nice spelling.
Shafir. Yeah. Shafir. Yeah.
Her, because again, I kind of am liking kind of like I had with Zeta, my size for submission stuff. Um and me being the size that I am, I'm able to power out of things and really kind of make that person work that much harder to try to submit me. And I think that that is a good matchup than just a simple David and Goliath. But she's pretty tall too. So, but you know what I mean as far as like when I have shorter opponents, like that is yeah, there's that story, but it's tale as old as time. So when you have somebody tall against a shooter, it's a little bit different. And it's a style of match I'm really coming to. I really like it. And it seems easier for me in a sense.
Uh, Back to the Vegas match. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Zeta had you in a submission move and you went down and you picked her up and put her on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, I need you to like pick them up to about your stomach area and just drop her. I was like, oh, she should have just dropped her through the
Oh
ring.
yeah,
I was waiting for it.
I was trying to go as much as I could, and she was hanging on. So, it was the first time that I had done that. So it's definitely something to make a lot bigger in the future, which I would love to.
So, if people haven't seen you, would you describe your character as how would I describe it? A 6 foot bombshell, got a little attitude, knows what she's about. Gonna get what she deserves out there. It's not
Yeah.
holding no punches. So, how would you describe your character?
That's kind of, yeah, just the 6 foot bombshell. I've got height, and I like to set it off in a sense, and that's where that came from. I like to be the center of attention, and I try to show that through my wrestling. So there's not many tall women on the independent scene, so it helps me a lot in that sense. There's really not a lot of tall women that wrestle, so I like to be one of those pillars of like a glamazon style. So that's really what I go for. Trying to be and work on being more of a powerhouse as well. Because it's just that's again that advice is just they drill it into you. Work for your height, work for your size. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I enjoy being hated.
Do you?
I enjoy getting heat. It is what it is. I absolutely do. My father was an NHL enforcer, and I like to think that some of that is instilled in me because at the end of the day, yeah, I get heat, but I'm always going to stand up for the little person as well.
Oh man. If I see you at a show, I'm just gonna boo you just because you like the heat. um, Definitely
That's
do.
fine with me. I will deserve it, and that's what I'm trying to bring out. You
She
know,
says she will deserve it. Okay.
I'll make sure I earn it. How about that?
All right. Usually I just go up and boom out of nowhere, boo.
Right.
Just because. Now, this is the time. We call this our put yourself over moment. You love to be the center of attention, like you said. So this is where you let the people know your social media so they're able to follow you, the things you have coming up, any ways they can support you. If you got a t-shirt site, any websites or anything, any ways they can get you
Yeah.
some monetary, we would like you to put yourself over.
Okay. Well, I do actually. There is a link in bio thing on my Instagram. It's actually Zoe 101, but you can search Gemma Jewels and it'll still come up. There you go. Thank you. And my Twitter has the same name as well. On YouTube, just search my name, Gemma Jewels, versus, and my channel should automatically come up. It's under my real name, Zoe Walker. So, that's all you have to look at for that. I do have OnlyFans. I'm gonna plug that. It's included in the link in my bio. My link to Pro Wrestling Tees and my store Jules Rules is on there. It's spelled just how it sounds. And again, I believe. Well, I think that's it. As far as Twitter, Instagram, Pro Wrestling Tees, YouTube, all that good stuff. I have MomoCon at the George World Congress Center, ready to set it off, against Shalance Royale. This was a long time coming. So I'm super excited for this match. So I definitely think that it should draw a pretty good crowd down there. And then June 4th, I am in Athens, Georgia, at I believe it's Southern. It's not Southern Style. I did just sign on with them. So I will be working, and that'll be in Atlanta, which is going to be great. It's kind of the new thing for AWE. So look out for Southern Style for sure. I'll have to figure out I'm sorry, I forget the name, the one on June 4th, but I'll be in Athens for that one. And that is as much as I have coming up so far. So I hope you guys will follow along and definitely come see me.
Coming to a city, a place near you.
Yes, sir.
Gemma Jewels. Ooh-wee. I was about to ask something, but I totally forgot what I was about to ask.
Oh no.
Oh, found her YouTube, guys. That's what I was going to put over YouTube. Please follow her YouTube. 321 subscribers. If you go to our YouTube, I will do a post Wednesday morning so you can go to her YouTube page and follow her. She has a t-shirt on here. New shirt available for purchase. Okay. Or is
I
this
really
old?
like it. I always wanted like a little character
It's
on
a
the shirt, and that's what I like. Yeah. So
so
cute.
follow that guy. Well, I'm gonna actually share it right now to the YouTube page. There you go. All right. So
Thank
she
you,
got
sir.
another one. No problem. So guys, Gemma Jewels, I know we usually say that I meet the people, I see them live in person, I watch them wrestle. Gemma, we've been following each other for a while. She made a comment on something, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna ask. So I probably will pop up at a show that she has, and I have the whole picture and everything like I do, so I did see the
Yay.
person live, and it's not just me out here pumping it up and doing whatever. So she's in the Georgia area. Follow all her social media. Go back, watch her on AEW in April. Title Match Network, $9.99, 2 weeks free. Watch UWW. It's weird to say UWW, but it's
It is.
UWW. Her phone dropped. Um, all her links will be in the description here. But it's fun conversation. And a year from now, we'll be saying her name with the other tall, big women in the wrestling business. Savannah
Here's
Evans,
hoping.
Colleen King, Genocide, Camille. You know, we're gonna call her Big Zoe, Big Gemma.
Big Zoe.
Big Jewels in a year.
Big Jewels, baby.
When she do something, be like, there go Big Jewels, told y'all. But you know, like I always say, thank you, Gemma, for giving us this time. We appreciate talking to you. People, please go follow her, watch her journey.
Thank you so much.
We're going to put the clip up so y'all can see her wrestling, so y'all know it ain't just no talk. And I'm Trey D, and like I always say, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we love wrestling. It's too street.
Thanks so much.
And you love wrestling, then we. You're not here, you missing out. Is this show?